Hey everybody, Travis Clater back with another strategic thought for the day. Now today we're going to be briefly talking about timing, and timing can be one of the most frustrating things that public relations professionals and practitioners face. Sometimes it feels like we can never find the right timing to execute a campaign or a program. In fact, I'm working on a pitch right now, but as I'm sure you know, it's the end of the year and Christmas is just a couple of weeks away. Now, the timing of this announcement is now. Now is when we have to capitalize on it. But how do you make it work when you're in this scenario where the timing is against you? It is a struggle. It's always a struggle, and it's something that practitioners face all the time. There's always something going on. Something that really piqued my interest on this is something that happened last week, and it's another example, albeit on a different scale, and that's Instagram. Instagram has been under fire, as I'm sure most everybody knows, after the Facebook whistleblower revealed, let's say, some business practices that weren't exactly conducive to protecting children on their platforms. Since then, there's been pressure from lawmakers and regulators and child safety advocates to address the negative effect that social media has on kids' privacy and mental health and safety. Now, look, we could talk all day long about that aspect of it, but what we're talking about today is timing. Instagram did announce last week several new features that are meant to make the platform safer for teens and kids. For instance, it's making new accounts private by default for kids under 16. They're blocking some adults from interacting with teens on the platform, and they're even restricting how advertisers can target teenagers. And to be sure, they're taking many other additional steps to try and ensure the safety and well-being of kids on their platform. And look, I'm not here to argue whether those are good or bad, but the timing leaves something to be desired, because another thing that Instagram did last week was make this announcement just ahead of when the head of Instagram was set to testify before a Senate panel. That's right. Just hours before he was set to go in front of regulators and lawmakers did they announce these measures. And look, Facebook has been under fire for months, maybe years by some activists, and Instagram has been in the crosshairs for a while. So to announce this just before that Senate testimony seems a little suspicious, at least on the surface. And the unfortunate part is sometimes the surface is the only thing that matters. Again, I'm not here to judge whether or not these measures are sincere or come from a place of purpose or morality. I'm simply saying that timing is everything for these kinds of announcements. Even if it's a positive step in the right direction, it can look suspicious if it's done at the wrong time, like right before a hearing. Um, and it's important to know that audiences are more skeptical than they've ever been. Trust is pretty much at an all-time low. So giving your audiences reason to doubt your sincerity, typically not in your best interest, especially right now because they're probably already leaning that way, or at least looking for a reason to lean that way. And look, these are complicated times, and brands admittedly operate in a more complicated landscape than ever before. It's not easy to say the least, but that means you need to take all the advantages you can get, including capitalizing on the timing. And here are four things to consider when making an announcement or putting out news. And the first is what's happening in your industry. Is there anything happening in your industry that is going to positively or negatively affect your news? You have to know what's going on in your industry, among your peers, your colleagues, your competitors. The second is what's happening in your company. Integration with all areas of your company is crucial to this particular point. What's happening throughout your company that may affect your news? Is there a new product rollout, a new leadership announcement, or even a congressional testimony that you need to be aware of? Third, what's happening with your employees? Your employees are the ones that carry your message to the masses and either validate your position as a brand or call you out for not living up to those expectations. So you need to know what's happening with your employees that may affect your announcement and how it's perceived. And then finally, what's happening in the world? Seems simple, but you really have to have a good pulse on this. Is there something happening that will change the way your audiences View your announcement. Every brand has learned, for instance, that this COVID landscape we're living in, changes the way their audiences see them, and their announcements, their news, the information and content that they put out. So, what else is happening that may affect how your internal and external audiences receive and perceive the news that you're sharing? And look, finding the right time can be challenging, but it's worth every second of discussion to ensure that you get it right. So choose your timing wisely. And there's your strategic thought for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in, and be sure to check out tcstrategic.com for more posts, and we'll see you later. Thanks.